Good evening and Happy New Year. I just did a beer examination with the group online for Miller Fortune, and I wanted to make a video for my channel specifically because I have some interesting things to say about this particular beer. So on the box it says it's a lager, but it really doesn't fit into any of the style guidelines for that particular style of beer. And part of our discussion online was what style does it better represent. So I wanted to share some of those thoughts with you. So first off, when I pour it, it pours with a pretty nice head. And I know from experience, because this is actually the second one that I've had tonight, that it's going to dissipate quickly. So I just wanted to show you that up front before we got to the appearance part. So as far as smell goes, it definitely has a corn smell to it, and I think as an adjunct beer that they use corn, and so it's going to smell like corn. But it also surprisingly has like a sweet, almost brown sugar kind of a smell to it, and that I thought was very surprising when I had first opened this beer up. So again, not appropriate for this particular style. It should have very subtle aroma, mostly of corn, not and a sweetness, but not necessarily like a sugar sweetness as such. Certainly not a brown sugar sweetness. So appearance-wise, this particular beer, and I don't have a white paper available to me, so let's see if this works. Um, uh, uh, as an American lager, it should be incredibly pale, straw. Sometimes they call it golden. You can't really see it as well here, but this actually has an almost amber hue to it, so it would be kind of like a light amber beer. Um, and interestingly enough, Beer Advocate has this beer categorized as an amber ale or a red lager, and I think that causes some confusion. So I saw comments that said I'm biased about red beers, so I didn't particularly care for it. But I don't think that that's the kind of style of beer that it is. So um, on to flavor, because it's actually impressive. Um, it is a very well balanced beer. It has a sweetness to it. It's definitely malty. You don't get a lot of corn flavor from it. A little bit of bitterness, but it is incredibly drinkable. It's very good. I think you kind of, especially the second time through, once you've gotten a little bit of flavor on your palate, get that kind of sweet brown sugar flavor out of it. Um, so it is a very balanced flavor. It does have some mild flavor to it that would suggest that it were characteristic of an American style lager. But when we get into the mouthfeel, that's where things get a little bit fuzzy too. Um, it, an American lager should be um, medium light body. From the use of adjuncts such as rice and corn, it should be pretty high carbonated with a little bit of carbonic bite. But when I taste this beer, I'm getting a pretty full flavor. It's not full like a stout, or certainly not like a nitrous beer. But it offers, it's kind of velvety and creamy and full, and that kind of takes it out of the category in and of itself, and makes it a whole new kind of beer. So as far as color goes, as far as flavor goes, and then as far as mouthfeel goes, it's definitely not characteristic of an American style lager. Um, and so another thing about American lager is that it would be 4.6 to 6% alcohol by volume. Miller Fortune comes in at 6.9, so this is actually a pretty substantial beer, and it has been characterized as a malt liquor, which is correct, because beers over 5%, like 5 to 10%, categorized as malt liquor, and so in that respect, it's correct. But really, this is just a really higher alcohol beer. And so, as far as alcohol content goes, it's out of the lager style. So in our online review, we were talking, and I think I was kind of flipping through and trying to figure out like where would this better fit as a beer style, and we were thinking that it's a lot like a Bock, but specifically a Helles Bock. And so a Helles Bock is 6.3 to 7.4% alcohol, so it will fit into that category. It has a medium body, moderately high carbonation, smooth and clean with no harshness. It should have, let's see here, clean with no fruity esters. Not cloyingly sweet, but it suggests that it could have some sweetness to it, and it should have a little bit of bitterness. So it's a little bit more bitter than a standard Bock might be. So in that respect, it's probably also characteristically appropriate. As far as color goes, it's a deep gold to light amber, and so that also fits this particular style of beer, deep gold to light amber. And aroma, oh, the other thing that was particularly notable about this beer is that at 6.9% alcohol, you can actually feel a little bit of an alcohol burn in the back of your throat, which is definitely not something that we're used to experiencing in American lagers. And so that can happen for the higher alcohol content beers. So I think that this beer should be evaluated independent of what you think of American lagers, and that it really doesn't fit into the American lager category. So while it's marketed as a lager and it's made by Miller, I think that this beer is exceptional, and that it's definitely worth giving a try. So it's pretty easy to find locally. I found it in Safeway. I think I've seen it at Bevmo, and it's relatively inexpensive. I think I paid $7.50 for a 6-pack, and that included the California redemption value and tax. So pretty affordable for a 6.9% alcohol beer that actually has decent flavor and great body and is incredibly drinkable. So I think this beer kind of falls into this this valley between what somebody is expecting when they see a bottle that says Miller and what they're expecting when somebody has a craft beer. And it's really kind of in between those two. So people who are drinking Miller are probably going to be very disappointed by this beer. People who drink craft beer are probably going to avoid this beer because it says Miller. But I suggest that you give it a try and kind of set aside all of your preconceived notions about what you expect it to taste like, and have a couple of tastes, drink it really cold, drink it warmer, and then see if you actually like it. I feel like a lot more people would buy this if they gave it a chance. So I don't know exactly how the marketing has been set up and who their target market is and whether or not they've reached them. But I feel like a lot of people that I know that drink beer wouldn't necessarily buy this. And I think that they would actually enjoy it. And I was actually considering doing a blind test and serving this to people and saying, hey, give this a shot, and hearing what they had to say before they knew what it was, because I think that they would enjoy it, even though they might cringe if they found out it was a Miller beer. So I gotta tell you, Miller Fortune, actually pretty enjoyable. I'm glad that I bought it because we did this online review with the beer review group, and I wouldn't normally buy a Miller product with the anticipation of enjoying it. I might have tried it for the sake of trying something, done the review, rated it as fairly as possible, but this beer I actually enjoyed drinking. So give it a shot. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. If you've already had it before, definitely share with me. Did you think it was a lager? Does it fit into what you expect out of a lager? You know, let's see here, page 2, some standard or some commercial examples of premium American lagers include Miller Genuine Draft, Corona Extra, Michelob, Coors Extra, Birra Moretti, Heineken, and I really just don't think it's in that category. So let me know what you think. So thank you so much for watching, and cheers, Happy New Year's, have a great year.